Buonasera, Dario Ricci, Radio 24, una domanda per Mateo.
Good evening. A question for Mateo. Mateo, you're coming up against a number of your former teammates. You know Italian football very well. How do you feel? And tactically, are you concerned in any way coming up against Italy in this crucial match? Good evening. It will be nice to come up against some of my teammates like Jorginho. I've got a great relationship with him. I played with him for many years, and it's nice to play against him and see him. We certainly are expecting a very challenging match. Italy are a quality team. They're very well organized. We know it won't be easy. We know what our aim is. We know what we need to do. And tomorrow night we need to try and do so as we have done on other occasions in the past.
Dobro večer svima. Izborniče, kakva je situacija u slačionici? Sami ste naglasili sutra je knockout faza, ali bez produžetaka.
Good evening, Gaffer. What's the situation in the dressing room? As you said, yes, oftentimes we've gone to extra time. Every match is difficult. We're ready. Everyone's looking fit and firing. Apart from Vida, who had an issue a few days ago, and so he won't be available for selection tomorrow. We know what the situation is. We know it's essentially a knockout match tomorrow night, and there won't be any extra time. And we must simply win the game. It's must win. We need to come home with 3 points to go through. Any other result will send us home. We don't want to go home so soon. We haven't got the results that we wanted to thus far, and so now we have this match which awaits, and it will certainly be an historic match. In split against Russia, against Scotland, we've faced some important matches. We know what our situation is, and tomorrow we're ready to compete.
Izborniče, jučer smo na pres konferenciji čuli da Talijani Spallettija zovu kralj taktike, pa je Mario Pašalić dodao da bi on to općenito rekao za sve talijanske trenere.
We heard from Luciano Spalletti a short time ago,
što se tiče Talijana, i mislite li da će s obzirom na to sutra
and he said that Croatia have great quality in the side,
veći utjecaj nego u nekim drugim ili ove
and there will certainly be a tactical battle tomorrow night. Do you think the tactical side of things will ultimately prove crucial tomorrow night? I'd like to congratulate Spalletti on his career, on his silverware that he won with Napoli. He's done excellent work during his coaching career, and we know that Italian teams are typically very tactically strong, and we'll see that tomorrow night. However, we know that they only need 1 point, so we'll try and stop them from getting that draw. We'll try and stay relaxed to not lose our cool or lose our heads and not allow the opposition to get on top of us. There won't be any form of footballing provocation. Anything can happen tomorrow night, but we're ready to take on the game.
I want to ask this question to both of you because, we maybe are a little worried that this is Luka Modric's last dance with Croatia. I don't know. I suppose you both have a different point of view, and I would like to ask you how you see him in these hours before the game. Thank you.
Pa mi ne razmišljamo o tome da ovo Lukino zadnje veliko natjecanje. Mi smo sretni i ponosni što je Luka.
Quite honestly, we're not thinking that this might be Luka Modric's last game in an international tournament. We're happy that he's here with us again this year.
Opet da kaj je najpotrebnije da možemo i siguran sam da je Luka svjestan da nas sutra mora povesti.
And we will show what we can do. We're delighted to have Luka Modric out there with us on the pitch. For the moment, we're entirely focused on Italy. We're not thinking too much about that stuff at the moment.
Coach, what changed in the Croatia national team between the World Cup in Qatar and now in the European Cup? What is the reason for the not good started in this European Cup?
Pa slažem se s vama da nije dobar start i ovo do sada smo odigrali da nije na nivou hrvatske reprezentacije. Razlika je u tome što prelagano primamo golove.
We haven't started well, I agree. We haven't been up to our usual standards because we've been conceding too many goals. We only conceded once in the group stage in Qatar 2022. We've conceded 5 thus far here. Perisic was on top form in Qatar. That's a difference. The players are 3 years older. We are also coming up against strong opposition here as well. Perhaps the main issue is that we started to concede goals this season. Good evening to both. I arrived a bit late. Maybe you've already answered this question. During the group phase, Croatia have never come up against a crucial match like this one. We beat Scotland, then we came up against Belgium in the following World Cup. Do you feel additional pressure on this game? That's a question for the head coach. As for Mateo, a lot has been written and said in the papers that this is an aging national team, that the established players are coming to the end of their time. Does that give you additional motivation to prove people wrong tomorrow night? There certainly is pressure because our idea was to try and make it through the group stage, and now we're in a different situation. This is a historic match. There are always historic matches which always crop up. Every game in essence is historic. But we're ready. Yes, there is pressure. And that comes down to the results we've had thus far, and also due to the scores and thousands of fans that have been travelling and that will be there in Leipzig as well. So there is pressure for us to put a smile on their faces to try and get a good result for our country. But we mustn't become distracted by that. We mustn't lose sight of what our target is. And we need to show our true level. We need to make sure that we don't fall behind. So right from the word go, we need to try and put things right and get back to our primary objective, which is to make it through to the knockout stage. That's down to us. It's all about being patient and focused. So the question is whether we're old. Is that what I need to answer? Yes, there are some old players. There are some of them, but your age isn't necessarily important. It's how young you feel. We haven't shown what we're able to do in our first 2 matches. We have, however, done that time and time again down the years, and we hope to do so tomorrow night. We're ready, we're focused on Italy. And as for what's being written or said, everyone has their own opinion on that. Everyone's free to write what they want. We know simply that it is an honor to represent Croatia, and it will be an honor again tomorrow night. A question for Mateo. Spalletti said that you have spoken to one another and you're in great ties. What have you said to one another? And what's your relationship with Inter? There's a number of Inter players for Italy. Do you still keep an eye on Italy's results? And for the head coach, I wanted to ask you whether you were surprised by Italy's performance against Spain. Were you disappointed or surprised?
Mislim da ste pomiješali s nekim igračem, pošto ja nisam nikad igrao pod vodstvom Spallettija. Bio sam u Interu, ali on tada nije bio, tako da je to moguće da je sa Perišićem ili Brozovićem. Jedino što mogu reći da Spallettija jako cijenim kod trenera, da radi vrhunske
Yes, we are in touch.
rezultate, kao što je naš izbornik rekao, je taktički fenomenalan.
He's a
tako da
coach that I
očekujem
respect a
super
great deal.
kvalitetnu
He's had some excellent results throughout his career, as my head coach said. We expect quality Italy side tomorrow. I'm sure that there are some of my teammates that have closer ties to Inter. So I played with Jorginho, for instance, at Chelsea for a number of years. We've got a great relationship both on and off the pitch. It'd be nice to see them tomorrow night.
Bilo je pitanje za mene, samo još dodatak je bio kao kako smo. Mislim da to nije bila realna slika Italije na toj utakmici. Španjolska je tu bila dominantna, stvorila je puno prigoda, puno šansi.
I don't think that was a true reflection of what Italy are all about. Spain dominated the game. They had a whole deal of opportunities, and Italy did freeze a touch. I didn't expect that result, nor did they, I think. But that's not the true Italy side that we saw against Spain.
Vi i Luka imali celost odigrali u karijeri jako puno utakmica, velikih turnira zajedno, to mislim. U ove dvije utakmice vezni red.
You and Luka Modric have played some very important matches throughout your careers. But in the last game, the midfield unit wasn't the same as we saw in Qatar and the Nations League. Have you asked yourself where the issue lies? And whether there's greater pressure on you three in the middle because of that? Yes, of course, we do speak to one another. And we know that our midfield unit hasn't operated as well as it has in the past. We haven't been as compact as we ordinarily are. And our team play as a whole has suffered because of that. We weren't up to our usual standards in these first two matches, but we have a third game coming up. We're up against an excellent Italy team. And with the greatest of respect to them, I comfortably think that we can approach this match. As you said, we have played a number of important matches and we know we're up against strong opposition. Any other questions?
Calciomercato.com. È una domanda per il mister. Spalletti ha detto che cambierà.
A question for the head coach. Spalletti has said he'll change things, he'll change a great deal. Do you expect him to tweak things defensively? Will he go to a back three, for instance, do you think? And a question for Mateo. You started in Italy at a very young age. What do you retain from your time playing in Italy, which allowed you to make it this far?
Pa ja ne očekujem da će Spalletti puno mijenjati u smislu taktike i načina igre kako on igra već dugo i kako je osvojio prvenstvo sa Napolijem.
I don't think Spalletti will change a great deal from a tactical perspective. I know the way he sets his teams up. At Napoli, for instance, he will ultimately decide that, but I'm not interested in that, in the sense that I need to focus on making sure that Croatia play the best possible performance. We know that Italy are a good team, that they boast quality, but we also are a strong side. We expect a similar starting 11 to the one that started the previous two matches. He might change one or two players, but what matters to us is playing our own game, above all when it comes to defensively. Yes, I was very young when I moved to Italy. I learned a great deal from the Italian game. I learned discipline above all in those 2.5 years in Serie A, both on and off the pitch. Tactical approach, how to defend. I had 3 very different coaches. I learned a number of things from them, and that really stood me in good stead for my career. I think you can learn a great deal defensively from Italian football, how to get your defensive shape, for instance, and positioning. I wasn't very good defensively at that time, so that really served me well in terms of getting better.
Tancredi Palmeri, Sport Italia. La prima per il mister.
The first question is for the head coach. Maybe you don't know this, but you probably do know that in previous meetings, only against Brazil, Spain, Uruguay and Croatia does Italy have a losing record. Ever since Croatia became independent, they've never lost to Italy, and you've always got a result against Italy. Do you feel that you find it easy to play your style of play against Italy? And to Matteo, have you said anything amongst you players that it might be the last dance for this generation and we don't want to be remembered as the team that drew in the 95th minute against Albania, and so you might be additionally motivated? Yes, I think we can play our brand of football against Italy, and that's how you win matches such as these. Italy need a point. Unfortunately, we need more than a draw. Either way, we expect an aggressive Italy side. In recent times, Italy and Croatia have proven that could be the case, but we believe in our style of play. As we showed against Brazil, Argentina and England, I think we can also play our style of play against Italy as well. That's our aim. No, we haven't said that this might be the end of an era for us. We're not thinking about that. We're solely focused on tomorrow night's game. We need to approach it with our heads held high. We need to remain focused. And quite honestly, we're only thinking about tomorrow night's match and the fact that we have to win the game.